Teacher Jeffrey here. Welcome to our topic homeostasis. This time I would like to recognize the work of my students. Let's go and dive in now.
Homeostasis. How does the body deal with extra glucose? Example of homeostasis in humans. Body temperature and blood glucose level. Body temperature. Human body has an ideal temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. If the human body gets too hot or cold, the proteins and chemicals reactions that are crucial for making our body will not function properly. If the problem is not solved, there is a risk of tissue death. Blood glucose level. Our body needs sugar in order to run the process of cellular respiration and provides energy for our cells. Blood normally contains 70 to 90 mg of glucose per 100 cm³ of blood. Having the wrong amount of sugar in one's blood can have serious consequences. When blood glucose concentration rises above the normal level. Have you ever wondered what happens after a meal rich in sugar or starch? People say you will become fantastic after drinking Fanta, but that's not the case. The following events will take place. Stimulus. Blood glucose concentration rises above normal, which is about 70 to 90 mg glucose per 100 cm³ of blood. Receptor. Receptor is also known as the control center. Islets of Langerhans in the pancreas are stimulated. Pancreas secretes insulin into the bloodstream, which helps to bring the glucose level back to normal. Corrective mechanism. Blood transports the insulin secreted by pancreas to the liver. Here are several effects of insulin. Increases the permeability of the plasma membrane so that more glucose is taken into the cells from the blood. Increases the oxidation of glucose to carbon dioxide and water in respiration. Increases the conversion of glucose to glycogen. Decreases the breakdown of glycogen in liver and muscle cells. Inhibits the conversion of non-carbohydrate sources to glucose in the liver, and increases the synthesis of lipids from glucose and proteins from amino acid. Normal set point. The insulin causes the blood glucose concentration to decrease. This provides a feedback to the receptor to reduce insulin production. This brings the blood back to normal set point. Glucose level increase. Then, the cells in the pancreas are stimulated to produce more insulin. More glucose is converted into glycogen in the liver. More glucose is used up for respiration, and body cells take up more glucose. With the help of negative feedback, glucose level decreases to the normal blood glucose level. What happens when the blood glucose level is unable to regulate? When the body is unable to regulate the amount of glucose in the blood, the concentration of glucose increases. This is what happens in diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is a lifelong disease for which no cure has yet been found. There are two types of diabetes mellitus, type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. In both types of diabetes mellitus, patient suffers from fatigue. This results from less energy being produced since less glucose can enter the cell. Diabetes insipidus is like diabetes mellitus. However, it's not a result of high levels of glucose but due to the lack of hormone from the pituitary gland. Further information of type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is also known as juvenile diabetes or insulin-dependent diabetes. It occurs because the cells producing insulin have been destroyed. usually diagnosed in people below 30 years old. And type 2 diabetes develop when receptors for insulin present to the body cells fail to be stimulated by insulin present in the system. The summary of homeostasis. Homeostasis is the maintenance of a constant internal environment. It involves the negative feedback, stimuli, receptors, and the corrective mechanism. Stimuli refers to the changes in the internal environment. Receptors detect changes and send nerve impulses to activate the corrective mechanism. And the corrective mechanisms bring about opposite effect of the changes to return it to the normal level.
This ends our topic for today, increased blood glucose concentration under homeostasis. This is Teacher Jeffrey. A goal without a plan is just a wish.